Welcome to the program from wherever you are watching us. I am your host Fred Ogweno, and this is the People's Bench, where we bring it the way it is without mincing words. We are talking tonight about matters President William Ruto's 3 years in office, 3 years since he was given the sword of power. What has he done with it? We are coming to you from Mutu Silver Springs Hotel, and for much more you can scan the QR code. You will be able to get much more about this very wonderful place, Mutu Silver Springs Hotel. And tonight I'm privileged to have Mr. Jaware JM. He is an activist, he is a commentator on issues governance. We are here to look at the successes, the hits and the misses of President William Samoei Arap Ruto. How are you, sir?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome to the bench.
I'm so glad to be here.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Maybe if there is something that I've not said about you, you can tell our viewers.
Yeah, I'm Jaware JM. I'm a leader here in Nairobi, and I believe we do civic education. And civic education is the way to go because it enlightens the citizens about their rights, roles and responsibilities. And this is what we do. We go to the ground, talk to the people and listen to their grievances about this government. And when we get about such challenges, we can be able to dissect how to bring solutions to the people. And whenever there's solution, it means people become happy. And happy to have that. There is a question that you posted. Are the Kenyans happy in this country? That is the question that we're going to delve after the discussion. Yes.
Thank you. And you've just started it 3 years since President William Ruto came to office. You know, we want to look at, you've said that you interact with the people, you go on the ground. What are they saying about President William Ruto? And what do you have to say?
Yeah, the people are saying a lot of things. And also I've got my opinion. But sometimes the people opinion matters so much. That's why they say the voice of the people is the voice of God. So whenever the people say something, even the government must be able to listen. And if you remember the time when the people marched to the parliament, in that bloodbath parliament, last year, 2024, June, people were marching. People wanted things for the interest of the country, but the government wanted their own selfish interest. So we must be able to understand what the people want for their government and what can be able to benefit their lives and livelihood.
Now, rate for me President William Ruto's performance for 3 years that he has been in office in a scale of 1 to 10.
Out of 1 to 10, I can give him 3. Yeah, there are a lot of things that he promised. If we looked at the promises he made to the people, ranging from education, healthcare, we come to agriculture, SMEs, and many other things. And there are many misses that the president cannot be able to account. Even on the issue of police brutality, I remember President William Samoei Ruto was on record that no any kind of police agency can be used against other politicians. Weaponization. And we've seen how weaponization has been happening in the country. We've seen how many young people have lost their lives. Parents are crying. And it is so devastating and debilitating at the same time. And if you hear a parent crying, they are supposed to bury, the children are supposed to bury their parents, not the other way around. So if you see the sentiments on the ground, parents lamenting, they are burying children below the age of 18. Others have just barely attained 19 or 20.
But now he's promising to give them money. He's now promising to compensate them. He has set up a team led by Professor Makau Mutua, and Kenyans are still opposed to this. What exactly do you want William to do?
Kenyans are so opposed to it because you remember during the manifesto of President William Ruto, there is a particular manifesto saying there will be a tribunal to handle the cases of human rights violation. And that particular special tribunal has never been set up. So if this is the same president who's having that, there's a squad we call 101 squad. It is hitting young people. And it is commissioned by the office of the president. And if it's doing that, then it's one to compensate the same people. That is irony. You can't lead the same people you want to kill. We cannot be able to go that side. The president must be able to respect the constitution of Kenya. That is why we say, lazima tekeleze katiba. Kutekeleza katiba, we say like this: you must be able to defend, respect, and uphold the constitution to the latter. What does the constitution say? All sovereign power belongs to the people of this country, and it shall be exercised according to the law. So what is the law? The rule of law. Respect the people.
But I hear you. He has brought affordable housing to the same people you are saying that he's killing. He's given them hustler funds. He's given them SHA, really treating them. And according to him and his men,
yes,
including Aiden Duale, they are saying that SHA is working perfectly.
Is
and
it working
Kenyans
really?
Are happy.
Is
Tell
it working?
Me, you say you talk to Kenyans.
SHA is not working. Many people are lamenting. The president and the Kenya Kwanza administration are so concerned about the people registering under this we call SHA. They are saying we want 28 million people. They're not talking about the number of people getting services. Look at, in government, we talk about performance indicators. If we are talking about performance indicators, we try to review and monitor how the government is doing. If there is a scorecard, we can say, even the people in Mashinani are lamenting about this. They said NHIF was way better. Because if you had paid 500 shillings, you'll get services. You'll get the services needed. Everything will be paid for. But this SHA, Social Health Authority, it was done at a cost of 104 billion Kenyan shillings. If NHIF had problems, they should have remedied it. And remedying the problems, if they were talking about some cases of people have hijacked the system, they were talking about cartels. It is so easy to take care of cartels, but you cannot bring another system costing 104 billion. Do you know how much 104 billion can do in the country? So much. You can invest in young people under SMEs. Give like 10 or 20 people a loan of 1 million each to do business, and they can be able to do something good for themselves.
Tell me, you are a Gen Z, I believe so.
Very true.
And there are reasons that made young people to take to the streets.
Very true.
That led to the butchering, that led to the killing, that led to the maiming.
Very true.
That led to the amputation of many of them.
Very true.
One of those reasons they were saying was poor governance, was corruption, was president having so many advisors who do not add value to the economy.
Exactly.
They were saying that they want accountability.
Accountability.
Can you gauge what President William Ruto has done as far as the grievances of young people in this country are concerned?
What the president, I can say, maybe I can say on a light note. The president, what he manages to do when he was inaugurated as a president, returning this dry port from Naivasha to Mombasa, and having to ensure that the judges who the former president refused to swear in, he did that. Only those. But amongst the things he has tried to do, the policies, formulation he has brought in, they're not working. The president micromanages every state agency and ministry. He cannot let the minister work independently. This minister, they need to report to the president about their progress. But when the president wants to manage everything, it cannot be able to work. The oversight, the challenge that's making the young people to storm in the streets is this. And the people have got that right because it is enshrined in Article 37. Because it says you can be able to assemble and go to demonstrate and picket in any street, Mombasa, Nairobi, wherever you want. But because the Constitution has enabled you, it is a right that no one can take it away from you, because it's a way of you saying that this government is not working. And to remember this, Fred, when you talk about oversight, Parliament is a body that is mandated constitutionally to provide oversight over the government. But these parliamentarians have failed the citizens. That is why young people saw it, said that if we delegated the power to the members of parliament and senators, and they're not representing us, why don't we invoke Article 1 and go to the street and demonstrate? That's why they wanted to go and remove President Ruto illegally from office, But it is the people's power. at the end of the day. So we must understand what we need in the country.
They wanted to go the Nepal way. You know what has happened in Nepal.
The Nepalese did so well.
The president.
I think Nepalese, they are reading from our script. We have a formula, and then they take away our formula and everything, and then they're executing what we failed as a country. If we did that, it will be illegal, yes, but if the government has refused to spur economic development, to help mwananchi, based on to put the interest of the people at best of their heart, but they are only doing their self-interest for their own personal gain.
But here in Kenya, you succeeded, to bring down the 2024 finance bill. The president gave in. He said that I surrender. If he was able to fire his advisors, only to reappoint them and even add the number.
Yeah, that was like adding insult to injury. It's like you're misleading these people. Surreptitiously, the president refused to sign into the finance bill to veto. But in December, some MPs said it was vetoed. So that is, that's a trick. The president cannot be tricking the Kenyans. He wants to lead. And these are young people who have information. And this is an era of whereby information, it is within everywhere. People can be able to access every document because people went to school. And the generation of now, the Gen Z, are, you can say they are the fruits of what the late President Kibaki started, free education. And these people have enough education. They can be able to use software to check everything that is happening within the government. They have that potential. So if these young people can be able to run everything, it means they must be given opportunity. They must never be lied to. But I understand sometimes politics, you have to deceive the people in order to win their hearts. But for how long do you need to deceive the Kenyans? Kenyans who are learned, Kenyans who have information, and they can be able to access anything they want. So it is better the president listens to the people, do whatever the people want in order to have a better country to be governed in a good way.
Tell me, my brother, do you really believe that President William Ruto learned anything from the Gen Z protests?
He didn't. He did not learn. He believes that having Raila Amolo Odinga is an easiest way to power. People say like this, it is an information that it is within the public space, that Raila Amolo Odinga, Mheshimiwa, he is like a life support machine to this government of Kenya Kwanza. And indeed, you understand, even look at the case of Nairobi. The governor of Nairobi, Sakaja, was almost impeached by the members of parliament. But Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga went to the members of parliament, members of county assembly, and told them, no, stop that. He convinced them not to. So it means Raila Amolo Odinga, the same way he saved President William Ruto, is the same way he's saving Governor Sakaja. So Raila, to some extent, is very big. He's a big man. And sometimes Raila is a good person. But the challenge is this. We fail to give Raila power. So therefore he wants that power. And he gets it because he has got avenues. He has got the people. People listens to him. That is why sometimes he takes advantage. And that's why I shall tell people, between the manifesto of Raila Amolo Odinga during the 2022 presidential election and William Samoei Ruto, Azimio had a good plan. And if people listen to Raila Amolo Odinga, we will be doing so well.
You believe so?
Yes, I believe so.
But now that he's working with William Ruto, how comes we are not doing that well?
Because he's not the president. They are sharing responsibilities, but they're not sharing the power.
He's a co-president. Yeah, he's walking on red carpet
the
everywhere,
same way.
every
You
morning,
remember?
every evening.
Yes, the same way they did a grand coalition government with the late President Kibaki. They signed an accord whereby they shared the responsibilities, but not power. Power cannot be shared like that because no one can give you power. You know that. Power must be taken, must be snatched very quickly when the people are not aware.
Tell me, my brother, yes, how powerful is Baba Raila Amolo Odinga that he is able to summon the members of county assembly, tell them, no, come on, leave Sakaja alone. That when President William Ruto was almost going home, he was able to save him. And yet, he's not the president.
Raila Amolo Odinga, we talk about is like, he has that power, but he cannot be able to use it constitutionally. It's like a de jure. They say de jure and de facto. So there's a person who has that power, legitimate power, but there are some people behind the scenes controlling the whole what is happening before us. So Raila Amolo Odinga has cultivated loyalty. It is like cult-like. People love Raila Amolo Odinga. I remember I was among the supporters. I love Raila Amolo Odinga. If Raila would have won, I would have marched in the streets of Nairobi, even just without a t-shirt, to just celebrate Amolo Odinga win. But because we were so disappointed and devastated at the same time, because Raila Amolo Odinga has never been lucky. But he's a great politician who can be able to do whatever they want. But only the voters forget Raila Amolo Odinga. But he's a great man. Indeed, he is. So remember, he has already been able to nurture parties and loyalists in the parties. So for example, in Nairobi City County, we've got 34 members of county assemblies, ODM party, but UDA has got 36. But remember, those in UDA, they're not now in UDA. Some are already decamping to DCP, but they can't say. They fear the president weaponize some agencies like KRA, some Asset and Recovery Agency, Office of Director of Public Prosecution, and other like Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission against these members of County Assembly. That's why they are scared. They cannot go to DCP to follow Rigathi Gachagua. That is why you see Rigathi, right now Governor Sakaja wants to decamp to ODM because he feels threatened in UDA party. You know, that is the challenge. That's why we say Raila Amolo Odinga is enigma. Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. They say Jacom because he can be able to rally and whip everything towards his party. That's why Sakaja wants to contest re-election under ODM party. That is it. And Raila is powerful. Yes.
Is that powerful?
Yeah, he's very powerful. Raila Amolo Odinga. That is why, look at the pictures whenever he is with the president. President Ruto sometimes he feels threatened. Look at him. Whenever he is with Raila Amolo Odinga, he wants to walk while pocketing. Have you ever seen the pictures? Whenever Raila Amolo Odinga is with the president, William Ruto, President Ruto always pockets.
Meaning?
Yeah, he wants to feel like people see. You know, politics is perception. So because Raila Amolo Odinga, the power comes organically. But sometimes Ruto, you know, you have to convince people I'm the president. Whenever he goes, he say, remember I'm the president. But Raila Amolo Odinga, you don't hear him saying that I'm the one controlling government. But indeed he's the one controlling government. He's like a co-president, yes. But only that constitutionally he is not. But behind the scenes, it is Raila Amolo Odinga.
Is the one running the government.
You remember the time before this commission was put to inquire about compensation for the young people? Raila Amolo Odinga said they will happen in the 10-point agenda. You remember? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, but President Ruto did not want to compensate. He's the same person who made these young people to be killed. So it is Raila Amolo Odinga convincing we must do this way or else we'll lose the people. We lose the votes.
If Raila decomes from William right now, if he abandons him, do you think he can easily be impeached in parliament? He can go home?
He can be impeached. Because right now the members of parliament are so scared to be associated with UDA. A majority of them, they are so scared.
From Mount Kenya?
Yeah. Not even a lot of people, because when you go to the ground, the people say, we don't want President William Ruto. One term. So if you are a member of parliament, do you know why President Ruto has established this agency we call multi-agents team to handle cases of corruption among the MPs? He wants to scare them so that MPs cannot be able to jump ship from UDA to other parties. Because sometimes MPs, they cannot go to the ground and say anything. You'll see a lot of them, they don't want to go with President William Ruto because of that baggage. People do not want President William Ruto.
Why is it that they don't want him? And he's saying that he's done a lot of things.
He has not.
Every day he counts so many big things that he has.
I want to ask you a question. It is, for example, if you say you've done many things, for example, if there is a maandamano, demonstration in the streets of Nairobi, there's tear gas everywhere. 2 days after, you'll walk in town, then smell that tear gas. Is it so? If there's maendeleo, you don't need to be told. You'll have to feel it in the pocket. And maendeleo is like this. People confuse between economic growth and economic development. Economic growth is like this. Growth, it is something like you go at home and build a house. That is growth. But development is having water, food inside the house, and people are happy. You can have a mansion like this, but people are not happy. People are sleeping hungry. So that is like economic growth. That's why the government is so concerned about economic growth at 5%, but yet we do not feel in our pockets. For example, if you go to Mama Mboga, you ask him, the purchasing power, how many people have you sold to this day? They will say maybe little number of people have sold to. But if there are many, it means people have cash in the pocket.
And are they happy? Those Mama Mbogas, the hustlers that were promised heaven on earth.
They are not happy. They are not happy. Another instance, for example.
As we are winding up.
Yeah, if you decide to build roads for these people, and yet I do not have money in the pocket even to be able to have motorbike to transport me or Uber, then what's the importance of that particular road? Who is it benefiting? I would rather walk on a tarmac road, not on a tarmac road, on a Maram road, but I have money in the pocket. I can be able to bring children something, to buy them something, gift. But if you can be able, you have tarmac road, but you don't have even a car or some money to hire Uber or a motorbike, it's very terrible. That is not economic development.
Tell me about the war on corruption. You've just said that he's been complaining, the president, about members of parliament. They are corrupt.
Yes.
And we saw cases to do with e-citizen,
Yes.
None other than the Auditor General saying that over 44 billion cannot be accounted for.
Very true. It is like in the Bible they say, you are pointing finger or you are pointing at the speck in someone's eyes, but you don't check at yours. There's that biblical passage. So President Ruto is pointing at the members of parliament in terms of corruption. But yet we understand, members of parliament, in case of corruption, it's only in CDF. But everything is done by the executive. Executive has the money. Executive, the source of the money, it's coming from the executive. MPs do not have money any other than NGCDF. So if it's pointing out corruption cases, let EACC, it is a mandated office constitutionally to handle corruption. The president cannot be able to fight corruption. He is not allowed. There is separation of power under Article 10. And we believe that every institution must be able to handle their issue independently.
Tell me, my brother,
yes,
some
please.
people have branded President William Ruto as a corrupt person,
Very true, very true.
And there were some study, I don't know, by some organization that rated him among he was the second, most corrupt.
In the world.
Indeed
He was rigged out. He should have been the first. He should have been the first. He should have been the first. Because the way we are going as a country, the trajectory from affordable housing. Do you know today, the budget for affordable housing program is 100 billion. Approved budget, 100 billion. Yet we are building 13,000 units. Each unit costing 2 million. That is a total of 26 billion Kenyan shillings. Where is the remaining 74 billion going to? 74 billion Kenyan shillings. Then they're justifying, they want to build markets and schools along the affordable housing. So where is the rest of the money? If you looked at the plan, President Ruto promised he'll be building 250,000 houses in a year. But the rate is building 13,000. 13,000 costing 26 billion. But yet the approved budget for the year, it is 100 billion. The collected monies from housing levies, it is 73 billion.
But the members of clergy are happy with him. Every weekend, they troop to State House. He's meeting religious leaders.
Yes.
They are praying for him. They are praying for the nation.
Yeah. That is why we say we must separate the church from the state. There's an article of the Constitution. It says that religion and the state must be distinct. Leaders do not have, they only have moral authority, religious leaders, to lecture the people in government. But the people in government have been given the responsibility by the people by voting. And these people must take care of their people. So if you looked at all this hula baloo, abracadabra about churches supporting President William Ruto, the church is being used for a long time. You understand how the Wazungu came to this country to colonize us. They came through stories of kanisa, then as missionaries. Then later they transformed into colonialist masters. That's how it started. And the church is a tool. You remember, if there's a saying that you cannot question a pastor on a pulpit. So these politicians, they go on a pulpit. The congregants cannot be able to question them. So it is the pastor being used by the politicians to whip the congregants into what they want to hear.
My brother,
obedience.
They say President William Ruto is a God-fearing man. Look, he's building a wonderful sanctuary for God right inside the State House.
That is
the
politics.
First president who is building for God a house in State House.
That is politics.
Politics how?
That is politics. How would you go and build 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings
Even
church?
David,
and yet the people are suffering.
Solomon built a church for God.
David was never allowed. The biblical David had blood on his hands. He was with war with other kingdoms. And God did not allow him to build the church. And so is President William Ruto. People died in 2024, 2025, Saba. Almost 73 people died, young lives. People have potential who could be anything. Even if Albert Ojwang could have become a president in Kenya maybe in 20 years' time. Because you cannot understand, if President William Ruto, if someone had previously had interfered with him, will he become a president? No. The same way we must be talking about any life. It matters a lot. And that's what the Constitution tells us. You matter, I do a matter. Every one of us matter in this life.
Are you saying that before President William Ruto builds God a house in State House, he must first of all go and repent and clean his hands from the blood of the Gen Zs? Is that what you are saying?
He must do that. And he must, at least if you build a church of 200 million Kenyan shillings, then use the remaining 800 million to empower the young people. It is like maybe you are having a father at home, worshiping day and night, and yet you don't have food in the house. What is that? What is that? We can't worship, we can't eat the church. People want development, want maendeleo. That is why we're saying even this Christian religious education must be removed from the education. Sometimes it does not matter. Other like Chinese are doing robotics. They're learning robotics. And yet we are so concerned about religion, which we were brought to by the Wazungus. You understand? You remember our people used to worship under the tree, shrines, but they used to do well. Must we build a church? Must we worship in a church? Must we? We can still, they say whenever 2 or 3 are there is God. So we can worship even in their houses. It is not a must. We go to the church, to a building. A building, it is not a must. You understand? So the church is not the priority. The question we must be asking, are you spiritual? It's not about being religious. Spirituality. You can be religious but not spiritual. There's no connection between you and God.
Finally, tell me,
yes.
He is dishing out money. You know, Mr. Kindiki has become the new money bag. He's empowering young people. He's calling them in State House in their big numbers.
We call them quick fixes. They don't work in economics. Economics, you understand, you must put a plan. That is why there is United Nations Development Sustainable Goals. From the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we borrowed something we call Vision 2030. And I say kudos to Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, Governor of Kisumu. Do you know what Governor Nyang' Nyong'o is doing in Kisumu? Because he is among the people who brought that vision to President Kibaki. He was among the people advisors. President Kibaki, there were 3 advisors. President William Ruto has got more than 60 advisors who are paid at the rate of cabinet secretary. What is that? That is total madness, absurdity. The wage bill will go high. Wage bill, public wage will go high. And it cannot be sustainable. It is almost more than 60% of our GDP as a country. GDP is almost $110 billion. And 60% of that, you can do the math. So we are suffering as a country. The president needed a blueprint, Vision 2030. And he needed to have some people like Professor Nyang' Nyong'o doing great job. Such people.
He had a great manifesto. Who stole the
economic plan?
The UDA, bottom-up economic plan.
The problem is the political goodwill. The president doesn't have the political goodwill. Today, if I fail to do business, I might say I don't have capital today. Because if you meet a young person, what is discouraging from doing business? They say capital is the problem. So look at the government, President William Ruto. We voted for him to become the president. I did not vote for him. I vote for Raila Amolo Odinga. But because the Constitution requires me to pledge my loyalty to the person who is the holder of that office, I respect the president. Okay? Yes. But remember, Remember, the things that we wanted him to do, he is not doing them. Yet he has a budget.
You are talking about capital for starting businesses, but he established Hustler Fund.
But no,
to the young people,
it started, it started with 50 billion Kenyan shillings. Right now, it has been reduced to 13 billion. And if you give a young man 500 shillings, what kind of business? Some other people are saying you can start a business like selling mayai boil. So if all of us started selling mayai boil.
And sweets in matatus.
Yes, if all of us, you sell mayai boil, I sell, my brother sell. So to whom shall we be selling to? We can't all of us sell mayai boil. We need to have SMEs. Look at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, a case study. They took 10 to 20 people, young people, brilliant minds. They put them together with the same commonality of a business. Then they give them 2 million to 5 million. They say you need to do a business. Then they give them a mentor who can be able to help them do business. Then it's spur economic development. But you cannot give a person 500 shillings. Today, if I don't have fare, then you give me 500 shillings to start a business. The first thing I'll go to the hotel and eat. Basic. You fulfill the basic needs. I don't have food, you give me 500 shillings to start a business. I will eat that money. I will never return it. It is basic economics.
And now they ate the money. Your parents is threatening them.
Yes,
that they will
look
not
at
be
that.
allowed even to access loans from
It is
the
our
banks.
money. It is our father's money and great-great-grandfather's.
You are saying Hustler Fund was your money?
Yes, it's our taxes. The taxes. Our grandfather paid for the taxes. We paid for the taxes. It is our monies. It is not President Ruto monies. It is our monies. So if we decide to eat our money, we take our money. The same way politicians, they buy houses out the country. They're using our money. So what is any big matter when we decide to use our money? You understand that?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And with that, we've come to the end of our program tonight. It has been the People's Bench coming to you from Muthu Silver Springs Hotel here in Nairobi. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen for much more. It has been a candid discussion about President William Ruto's 3 years in office since he was given a sword to protect the country. How has he worked for the country? And like they say that the jury is outside there, you are the jury. You know whether it's worked or not. I've been your host, Fred Ogweno. Until next time, bye-bye.